Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fast Forward Demo Day. I'm Kevin Barenblat.
I'm Shannon Farley, and we are co-founders of Fast Forward.
Thank you so much for joining us. There's over 1,000 people from 42 countries that have registered today, and we're so excited you're here with us. The idea for Fast Forward grew from our desire to see more of our best tech applied to our biggest social problems. Tech's changed everything from how many of us show up to work these days to how we host demo days like this. And yet we're still faced with many problems that need solutions. So we started Fast Forward to support entrepreneurs who are using technology to scale their social impact. This demo day is the culmination of a 3-month accelerator program. Each of these organizations has received a $25,000 grant, comprehensive training, and access to more than 100 mentors. In the last 6 years, 50 nonprofits have graduated from our tech accelerator. These organizations have gone on to raise over $157 million in follow-on funding and impact more than 63 million lives.
Kevin and I have started organizations, so we know firsthand how hard it is to take an idea, scale it, and achieve meaningful impact. It is really, really hard. And we also know what a difference early champions and advisors make in the trajectory of an organization. Those who step up in the beginning can catapult an organization from an idea to impact at scale. And we know this because we've seen it before. Just 4 years ago, Michelle Brown pitched her idea for a comprehensive literacy platform during our demo day. Michelle had been a reading teacher in rural Mississippi, and she had a classroom that was full of kids with no books. So she built the product she wished she had. It's just during the program, she'd raised about $30,000. She was working at her kitchen table, and she launched the product during the summer. And during our demo day, Michelle announced an audacious goal that she would serve 20 million students through CommonLit by 2020. I'm thrilled to report CommonLit surpassed that goal last week.
The good news is you're about to meet the next Michelle. These visionary founders are successful technologists, disrupting our approaches to mental health, AI education, and climate change. I think we can all agree it's been quite a summer. We wanted to give you a glimpse into our first virtual accelerator program, so we made you a video. Let's roll it.
Time for unprecedented social change.
Restless.
Hot.
Overwhelming.
Global pandemic.
Challenging.
Crazy.
Humbling. Absolute chaos. And yet, the accelerator has provided a cocoon to incubate our ideas and make impact that cuts through all the white noise.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little anxious about how things are right now, especially here in Brazil where I live, but I'm very excited for the summer, for Fast Forward.
I think it's gonna be a challenging few months, but I'm sure we're gonna come out a stronger organization.
The biggest thing I learned in the first week was that I know a lot less than I thought I did previously. So I'm a little nervous to keep learning how little I know, but by the end, I'll know a lot more.
To hear the passion that these people have for their missions, that's the amazing part of it. And the more I work with nonprofits, the more you realize there's some people there with big hearts and they need help to get their missions accomplished.
I leave inspired about the future of America with these entrepreneurs working on these issues at this time.
I believe tech has a tremendous power and responsibility to help underrepresented and underserved populations all over the globe.
So the founder chats are opportunities for us in the accelerator to ask questions and interact with past founders who have gone through Fast Forward.
The alumni coming back to speak to us is very encouraging because we know that, well, I know that if they made it and they can do it, then we can do it too.
The founder chats have really helped materialize in my head what the future holds.
One of the things that I think is most important about Fast Forward is the community that it has brought together, of people who understand the unique challenges that each of us as tech nonprofits face. The community of peers that I can turn to when I need help and struggling with something that really nobody else outside of this community would really understand. And that's what makes this incredibly lonely profession something that doesn't feel lonely anymore. And I think that's what's really going to advance the field.
I'm feeling really hopeful about the future as a result of the program. I now have a blueprint to refer to when thinking about what I want to do next to scale my impact and accelerate Hopebound.
I love that the accelerator, each one of us, we're doing our part to kind of chip away at society's most pressing problems.
I truly feel like what started out as an idea can actually turn into something really powerful. The future feels big.
Momentous.
Optimistic.
I have a compass for the way forward.
Determined to succeed.
Restored faith in humanity.
I feel really, really lucky to be part of this family.
Like Fast Forward, Google.org deeply believes that the best technology should be applied to our biggest social problems. We need new solutions and new approaches more today than ever before. And that's why we've supported Fast Forward and their teams each year.
You just saw her on the video. Now let's meet her live. Please welcome our first funder, Brigitte Gosselink from Google.org, who changed the trajectory of Fast Forward and many tech nonprofits by believing in us early. Brigitte.
Thanks so much, Shannon, Kevin. Thanks so much for having me, and welcome everyone to Demo Day. As Kevin mentioned, the events of this past year have been tremendous for so many of us, and they've really shown a light on many inequalities and a real clear need for progress. But we've also seen some really beautiful expressions of our shared humanity and really of our ability to come together around new visions for the future. And at Google.org, we really believe that technology can play a critical role in realizing that vision. And that's why we've been longtime partners and supporters of Fast Forward as they seek new ideas and great organizations like the ones you'll hear from today, who are really trying to use technology to solve some of these really critical challenges. We know that those ideas don't happen on their own. They require support. They require people to bet on them early, and they need your support. And to make that support go a little bit further, I'm excited to share that Google.org will be matching donations made during Demo Day today and tomorrow.
It's amazing. Thank you, Bridget.
And in this time, I really invite all of you to join us in backing these optimistic visions for the future and believing in these organizations who are really thinking about how to use their leadership and cutting edge innovation that we have to work on the problems that matter most. Enjoy the presentations. Thank you again, and congratulations to all the organizations who's made it through the program this year.
Thank you, Brigitte. That's amazing. Thank you so much for this incredible support.
We're so thrilled. Thank you for supporting these teams as they launch into what they will become. That's great. All right, we'll see you guys a little bit after.
Yeah, so for all of you watching, in addition to being inspired, we'll help you support these teams with a donation. You can give to one or to all. You can give $20 or $25,000, but we'd love your support in a way that's meaningful to you. you can go to ffw.org/demo day. It's in the chat. Donate any way you like. Credit card, PayPal, check, donor advised fund, stock, Bitcoin. Complete the donation form and we'll disperse the funds to your favorites. And when the presentations are done, swing by the Entrepreneurs Zoom rooms, which you can also find on the Demo Day guide at ffwd.org/demo day. Click the Meet button to be connected into their Zoom room. All right, enjoy.
We're really excited to meet everyone today and to share these incredible teams. But I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of the partners who made this possible. It really does take a village to pull off a virtual accelerator program in a year unlike any others. And it would not have been possible without Google.org, BlackRock, Hewlett Packard Enterprise Foundation, GM, Twilio.org, Okta, Bloomberg, Microsoft, CTIA Wireless Foundation, the Walter and Elise Haas Fund, the Nasiri Foundation, Luminate, AWS, NewRelic.org, PagerDuty, Akamai Foundation, and GitHub. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now you're ready to get started? Kevin, are you ready to meet the panelists?
Let's do it.
Do it. First up, we have Aura D. Tanner coming all the way from Florida. Hey, Aura, want to come on stage?
Hi, Shannon and Kevin.
Hi.
Hello.
We could not be more excited that you're our first presenter. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do it. We'll see you afterwards.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Aura Tanner, co-founder of the AI Education Project. We're developing curricula to teach high school students about artificial intelligence, its impacts, and the future of work. I was a new 8th grade science teacher at a school serving majority Black and brown students. My first science lab with my kids was a disaster. I stood before my students, defeated, frustrated, confused. I said, "You all act like you've never done a science lab before." One of my students, Melvin, slowly raised his hand and responded, "Miss, maybe we haven't." That was a wake-up call for me. The reality is millions of students at under-resourced high schools aren't afforded opportunities like robotics labs or computer science courses. This deeply concerns me because AI is a technology all students need to understand. It's going to eliminate jobs and create new ones. So how do we ensure that students have the essential knowledge, skills, and mindsets to thrive in the new digital economy? We'll teach them. Our core product is an online curricula that addresses 3 critical areas. Future of work. Our content focuses on the social, political, and ethical aspects of AI and how it's used in jobs. Remote learning solutions. We've created culturally relevant content that engages high school students online, built in Google Classroom and Canvas platforms. Real-world learning. Students complete project-based activities that develop creativity, problem-solving, and communications, all skills essential for the future workforce. Our team has education, policy, and technical expertise. And with support from our mission-driven partners, we're creating networks to scale our product. We've conducted successful pilots in Ohio and Florida, and at the beginning of this school year, 20 schools in 11 states deployed our curriculum as part of their remote learning strategies. We're raising $2 million to expand our pilots from 2,500 students to 100,000 by 2022. With your support, we can develop content in new subject areas and expand to different platforms. We invite you to help us change the narrative for students like Melvin. So when Melvin hears the phrase AI, he won't think killer robots. Instead, he'll think job opportunities. We want to empower Melvin and all students to rise up as informed workers, voters, and leaders of the future. Thank you. And next up, coming to the stage is Austin from Boston to share his bold idea of how to combat climate change. What's up?
Hey, Aura, nice job. Melvin and the Killer Robots. Always love your story and your smile.
Thank you. Good luck on your pitch.
Thanks so much.
See ya.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Austin, and I co-founded Climate Neutral. I would like to start getting you to give me a show of hands if you're wearing a shirt today. Okay, since I can't see you, I'm going to guess that about 75% of you are wearing a shirt, which is pretty good for a day at home on Zoom. So you may be concerned to know that your shirt contributed to climate change at every step, from being cotton growing in a field to being manufactured in a factory, put on a ship, stuck on a truck, dropped at your doorstep. Your shirt contributed to the 150-year rise in global greenhouse gas emissions that is causing climate change. And chances are the company that made your shirt has no idea how much it's contributing to this problem. That's a real issue, because in order to decrease climate change emissions, we need to understand what they are. And most companies, unfortunately, don't. This was true of the two companies started by my co-founders, BioLite and Peak Design. And something they discovered in the course of getting to the bottom of their contributions to climate change was that most companies out there, for less than 1% of revenues, could achieve net zero carbon emissions. This is true whether you make software or razor blades or iPads. And the question is, how do we get more companies to do this? Well, consumers today are really concerned about climate change. More than 3/4 of Americans have said they're alarmed or concerned. And so how do we turn this concern into consumer action? Well, that's why we created a label that we call Climate Neutral Certified, and it shows that a company has measured and offset and is working to reduce all of the carbon emissions that it takes to make and deliver its products. And we believe this symbol needs to become a recognizable symbol of companies that take a high level of ambition when they're approaching their carbon emissions. So this label for a consumer provides a nice option in between recycling on the one hand, which frankly doesn't do a whole lot for climate change, and on the other hand, moving into a solar-powered yurt, which not a lot of us are going to do. So in the middle, there's a pragmatic option which turns everyday purchase decisions into a vote for climate solutions. Now, in order to get companies to get certified at scale, we had to overcome that initial hurdle of measuring your carbon footprint. So we built a tool that we call the Brand Emissions Estimator, and it's taken a process that typically costs tens of thousands of dollars and boiled it down into something that pretty much anybody within a company can do in a matter of hours or days. And this week, we're announcing plans to make this tool as widely available as we can, so that we can get literally tens of thousands of companies to start producing carbon footprints. And we're going to open source the code base. In our first year, we used that tool to certify 140 brands, including Ministry of Supply, Kickstarter, Allbirds, and a number of others. And now we're in the process of raising $2 million in grant funding to bridge us to financial sustainability. And over that time period, we need to do three things. We need to build a large consumer movement behind the label using sophisticated marketing techniques. We need to recruit more brands, get them on board, get them excited about becoming certified. And we need to make sure that the impact that we're having on carbon inside the companies that we're working with and then beyond through their investments is actually measurable and having impact. The team that's working on this has a long history and a lot of experience in sustainability, climate policy, energy, and we are really excited about the idea that every consumer could one day have the tools to choose brands that have achieved zero net carbon emissions. And we want every brand out there to have the tools to become one. Now, if you've seen what's going on up and down the West Coast this week and last week, you know that climate is not just our children's problem, it's our problem. It is something that we fundamentally have to get our head around and we have to find solutions to. And I truly hope that you will join us in this journey. Thanks for being here. And so next, we have Gabby from AccesSOS, the inimitable Gabby, and her amazing solution to bring 911 services to everybody. Gabby, good to see you.
Good to see you, Austin. I want to tell you, shout out, I checked out your site, found that my clean canteen water bottle, climate neutral certified.
One of our favorite brands. Awesome. Good luck.
See you soon. Hi, everyone out there. My name is Gabriella Wong, and I am the co-founder of AccesSOS. This is a photo of my family, and I know you can't tell from this photo, but both my parents are deaf, and we communicate using American Sign Language, or we text each other. A couple years ago, my father had a gallbladder rupture, and he was not able to text 911 for help. This really affected me. Imagine there are 1 million Americans like my parents that are deaf and cannot call 911 in an emergency. In most places in America, you can't text 911. 70% of 911 call centers cannot receive texts. And in fact, due to aging legacy tech, the soonest that the United States would get 100% access is in 2030. People like my parents cannot wait that long to receive the type of help they need. People with disabilities, they aren't the only ones that lack access. Think of this: COVID patients with respiratory symptoms, non-English speakers, domestic violence survivors, they could all benefit from text to 911. And that's why we founded AccesSOS. Using the best solutions, we built a free mobile-based web app. And here's how it works. You visit this URL, and in just a few clicks, you can quickly contact your local 911 call center. Select a specific location, specify your emergency from a list. It uses your language preference, and AccesSOS works with existing legacy tech. We convert all that text into a phone call and call 911 on your behalf. Our talented team is passionate about making sure people have access to emergency help. And it's working. We're currently testing with the deaf community in New Mexico because we have to make sure this emergency technology works flawlessly. And we can make 911 accessible everywhere. With $550,000, we can test and complete the beta version, and AccesSOS will be available for anyone who needs it. Because at AccesSOS, we believe accessibility is a human right. My dad was lucky and survived his emergency, and with your support, you will make it possible for everyone to receive the life-saving help they need. So I invite you to join us. Thank you for being here. And next up, I am so thrilled to introduce you to my friend, Christina Guilbeau, calling in from Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Christina.
Hi, Gabby. That was so amazing. Thank you so much for everything you're doing and for making this presentation accessible to everyone as well.
Thanks, Christina. I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Christina. I am a former middle school teacher, a Stanford MBA, and the founder of Hopebound. Hopebound is a tech nonprofit that provides free virtual therapy to low-income adolescents. The reason I care about this right now is because mental health is the next pandemic. Over the last several months, all of us have experienced some degree of loneliness, uncertainty, or fear, and this has been even more pronounced for vulnerable adolescents. I'm extremely passionate about this age group because when my former 6th grade student was 16, she called me from across the country in distress, and I feared that she may take her own life. This was both terrifying and also frustrating because her high school, despite being one of the highest ranked in the capital of her state, didn't have any mental health staff. And for her and her family, private therapy was a luxury. I was determined to find a sustainable, long-term mental health solution, both for my student and for all kids like her. Adolescence is a critical intervention point because half of all the lifetime cases of mental illness begin by the young age of 14. And unfortunately, suicides are the second leading cause of death for teenagers behind accidents. I was 14 when I began to struggle with my own mental health. I was privileged enough to ultimately get the help that I needed, but that is not the case for so many. A minimum of 50% of youth in need of mental health support can't access it, and this percentage only goes up if they live in rural communities, if they're youth of color, or if they're part of the LGBTQIA+ community. Hopebound's innovative approach to closing that gap is by connecting adolescents in need of mental health support with graduate students in need of licensing hours. This enables Hopebound to provide ongoing support at a critical age and a level of depth at a price point that is unheard of, for free. We meet kids where they are, at middle school, at high school, at their after-school program, or where many are right now, which is right at home. And we always want to make sure that quality is top-notch, and I'm sure that there are many parents of young children out there, you're thinking about this question right now. Our providers are vetted, background checked, and all come to us with previous experience of providing mental health support to young people. Every single week, as is legally required, they meet with paid licensed supervisors to confidentially review their cases. And that's one of the many reasons why research has consistently demonstrated that clinicians in training can actually be as effective as those who are fully licensed. We've already launched a successful pilot here in Atlanta, where I'm based. This is what some of our families had to say. A child said that this was the best counselor they've ever had, and a family member shared that this was a gift. A parent told me that this had come at exactly the right time. We've launched another pilot this week in Newark and another one with the high school in Atlanta, and hopefully there will be many more to come in California and New York City, which is why tonight we are raising $500,000 to enable 30,000 free sessions for kids all across the country. We believe that cost should never be a barrier to care, and that Hopebound should always be free for the kids who need it most. Thank you so much for your support and your consideration. Adolescent Christina really appreciates it. Thank you all so much. So now I'm super excited to welcome my friend Zev Shapiro onto the stage, and he is doing really exciting things for youth as well. Welcome, Zev.
Hi, Christina. That was such an inspiring presentation, and I can see what a difference that your work will make for people my age and younger. So we really appreciate it, and I'm so grateful for your commitment to this important issue.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm super excited to see your pitch. Good luck.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. I'm Zev Shapiro. I'm a Harvard student and the founder of TurnUp. There are more than 10 million young people who want to get involved in social justice. The problem is they lack the tools necessary to do so efficiently. So that's why we've created TurnUp, a niche social network for activism, enabling young people to get involved in events, access resources, and join communities. I started organizing when I was in 4th grade. All of my friends complained about the school lunch. So I created a petition for a salad bar, and now there's one at every public school in Cambridge. This led to my passion for amplifying the voices of young people. I was so inspired to see millions of youth getting involved in response to Parkland. Everyone complained about the lack of communication between activists. People knew what was going on nationally, but no one knew the events, organizations, and activists in their own communities. Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok were not purpose-built for youth organizing. That's why TurnUp is a niche social network for activism, enabling young people to get excited about activism and sustain it every day of the year. Let me introduce you to one of our users, Chelsea. She wanted to get involved in social justice, but wasn't sure just how to get started. She found TurnUp, and she utilized it to organize a group of her friends to attend a Black Lives Matter rally. TurnUp was co-designed with hundreds of young people. We just launched 2 weeks ago and already have more than 2,000 users from every state. And our users love TurnUp. Here's what some of them have been saying on the app stores. Activism made easy, super powerful, the best new app for everyone. TurnUp superpowers the wave of social justice activism and increases its impact, especially on election day. But we need you. Our goal is to engage 500,000 youth by 2021. Our future depends on it. Thank you. And now I have the opportunity to introduce you to Zoe, who is working to make sure that incarcerated people are able to communicate with their loved ones. And he has a really inspiring story that I think you're going to enjoy.
Thanks so much, Zach. Really enjoyed your pitch.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Zoe. I'm from a small town in Connecticut called West Hartford. That photo you see on the screen was taken when I was 12. 4 of the 9 boys in that picture have unfortunately been incarcerated. It could have very easily been me in their place and them in mine. I had a far greater chance of ending up in New Haven Correctional than I did at Yale Law School. Black boys in the US have a 1 in 4 chance of ending up in prison during their lifetimes. And once they get out, more than half will end up right back in within 3 years. Research shows us that staying in contact with loved ones on the inside is essential to staying out of the prison post-release. Family connection can reduce recidivism by up to 56%. But staying in contact is out of the reach for most families. The prison telecom industry charges up to $50 for an hour phone call. And communicating through letters is burdensome when we're accustomed to sending texts and emails. But this is a very solvable problem, and that's why we launched Ameelio. Our first product, Letters for Families, is an app that converts texts into physical mail. Here's how it works. Families can access the service through a mobile app and locate their loved ones in our nationwide facility database. We enable users to send text letters, postcards, and send photos with a simple click of a button. Ameelio, using a printing and mailing API, prints and mails and tracks the letters for the users. We do this at absolutely no cost to families or the incarcerated. There are over 27 million Americans with an incarcerated loved one. Those are hundreds of thousands of families and communities who benefit from staying connected. To date, we have over 10,000 users and have sent over 55,000 letters across the US to over 1,000 correctional facilities. We've connected loved ones in all 50 states. Gabe and I are fighting to make all prison communication free. We have experience in the criminal justice system and with technology. We've received funding from Jack Dorsey, Eric Schmidt, the Robin Hood Foundation, and of course, Fast Forward. Our work has never been more important. Because of COVID-19, prisons have shut down all in-person visitations. Low-income families have very few options of staying connected right now. Imagine not being able to say goodbye to your father, your brother, or your best friend. One of our users, due to prison restrictions, has had a tough time staying connected with her husband. The only real communication they have now is through Ameelio's letters. We're raising $1 million to scale a letters product to serve over 100,000 users over the next year, and also to help launch our free prison video calling platform. We shouldn't cage love. Doing so hurts families and communities. Join us in ensuring that loved ones remain connected. Thank you so much. And next up, we're gonna have Jonathan, who's gonna tell us a bit about his startup that's working to help immigrants all across the country. Super excited to see his pitch.
Let's go. So that was incredible. Thanks so much for sharing that story. I love that in bringing families together, you're also taking on the prison industry that's messed up our country so much. So keep doing it, brother.
Thank you, man.
Hey, everyone. My name is Jonathan. I'm a lawyer, and I'm the co-founder of immigrationhelp.org. My dad immigrated to the US, and he made a good life for our family. And that's why I've committed to help low-income immigrants make their immigration dreams come true. Sadly, it's never been harder to immigrate to America. Immigration forms have multiplied in length and complexity in recent years. It's now over 100 pages of dense legalese. That's hard to do even if English is your first language. So you need legal help to file. But low-income immigrants can't afford to pay a lawyer $5,000. So 14 million people can't work legally. They can't vote in our democracy. And in the worst cases, they can't get asylum. Their American dream is just out of reach. But imagine if it was different. Imagine if this process could be simplified for people who can't afford lawyers. That is why we created immigrationhelp.org. On our site, you can answer some basic questions to see if you're eligible for one of our free immigration services. If you are, you'll go through a TurboTax style workflow that will prepare your application. We'll review everything to make sure it looks good, and we'll support you throughout the process. You can do it on your smartphone, it's available in Spanish, and it's totally free. And we know it works. So far, we've helped over 1,000 immigrants from around the world. And every application that has been decided by the government so far has been approved. Antonio is a dreamer who is worried about being deported. He needed to renew his DACA status to get work authorization. Kwame was worried about being separated from his children in Ghana. He needed a family green card. And Luisa needed to become a citizen so she could vote in our democracy. They couldn't afford a lawyer, but they made it happen with our help. We chose this problem because we're a team of lawyers and technologists and immigrants' children from 5 countries around the world. The tech we're building can decrease our internal costs from $5,000 to $50 per user while always being free for low-income immigrants. We also have a clear path to sustainability by charging high-income immigrants so we can keep the lights on without fundraising. To make that happen, though, we need your help. We're raising $500,000 to improve our platform so we can serve 10,000 low-income immigrants by the end of next year. Immigrants, like my dad and like so many of you out there in the audience, built America. We want that history to continue. So if you do too, I'd love to talk. Thanks. Next up is my good friend and fellow Bostonian, Laura. Laura is working on a really small problem, the cure for cancer.
Hey, Jonathan, great job on your pitch. And by the way, I saw the recent Boston Globe article on your work. It was such great visibility, so congratulations on that.
Thanks so much, Laura. I'm really, really excited to hear it.
Thank you. It takes 10 years and $1 billion to develop one new drug. My mom didn't have this time to wait, and she lost her battle with cancer. Millions of patients could benefit from additional treatment options, but run out of time. What if a solution already exists? At least 250 generic drugs could be repurposed for cancer. It's a simple solution to get new treatments to patients faster, and there have already been a few successes. A type of vitamin A called Atra was originally developed to treat acne, and 30 years later was proven to also be effective for treating the blood cancer leukemia. This is Marco, the father of one of our team members. Last year, Marco almost died from leukemia, and then he was given Atra. He's now cancer-free. We think we can scale this approach to quickly repurpose many generic drugs. Repurposing these off-patent drugs is being overlooked by pharmaceutical companies because it wouldn't be financially rewarding, but patients need them. The drugs are FDA approved, safe, and cheap. They've already shown benefit for treating cancer in small studies. So why aren't they being used for cancer? Well, they need to be tested in large clinical trials. These trials are expensive and time-consuming, so we first need to decide which drugs to pursue. To determine which drugs are the most promising for cancer, we need to review data from thousands of published worldwide studies. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It would take a lifetime for a human to find the highest quality studies and the patterns in the data. As a research director at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, I realized that we could use AI and machine learning to solve this challenge. That's why I quit my job and founded Reboot RX. This is a big problem, so we're breaking it down into steps. First, we're building AI technology to quickly sift through large amounts of data to find the most promising repurposing opportunities. Next, we'll bring together the various stakeholders to prove whether the drugs are effective and add them to the standard of care. Our team has expertise in cancer research, data science, and business. We're all driven by our personal experiences with cancer, and we're grateful to be working with fantastic partners. We were underway developing our technology when the coronavirus pandemic hit. There was suddenly an explosion of data on the effects of COVID-19 and its potential treatments for cancer patients, and we knew our technology could help. We applied our technology to rapidly narrow in on the most important studies on COVID-19 and cancer, reducing the required manual review time from 1 year to 5 weeks. We released a free dashboard for easy access to this information. It's being used by doctors treating cancer patients with COVID-19 and by researchers to accelerate the search for effective treatments. Now that we've completed this proof of concept, we're improving our algorithms to find the most promising generic drugs to repurpose for cancer and implementing our innovative strategy to move them forward. To accomplish this, we're raising a $4 million philanthropic round. We've already raised $1.5 million. Come meet our leadership team and board members at the networking session. And join us to fast track affordable treatment options for patients who don't have time to wait. Next, I am honored to be able to introduce Glenn from Movers and Shakers. Hi, Glenn.
Hey, Laura, that was absolutely amazing. You're going to change the game. Just remember me when you win the Nobel Prize.
You're kind. Good luck with your pitch. I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
My name is Glenn, and I'm the founder of Movers and Shakers. We use augmented reality to write Black and Brown history into American curricula. I remember having to color and learn about Christopher Columbus's boats as a kid. But our teacher never mentioned that they were slave ships. Our collective history tends to glorify white men, while the history of women and people of color is often ignored. As a Black man in 2020, I'm forced to confront monuments of people who would have owned me. Nationwide, there are over 5,100 statues of people There are 718 Confederate monuments, and only 395 are women. In New York City alone, there are 155 statues of men, 7 of women, and 23 animals. We could do better. In 2017, we started hosting teach-ins in public spaces to challenge our country's racial history. I ran the New York City Marathon in chains to push for a change. We advocated for racist statues to fall and untold history to rise, but the mayor only removed 1 statue. And as a result of the advent of the recent global Black Lives Matter movement, New York City has also decided to remove the statue in front of the Museum of Natural History. Now, it's politically contentious to get rid of statues, and it's expensive to erect new ones. And it's a similar battle when it comes to changing school curricula. Our solution is augmented reality. We're building out a catalog of women, people of color, and the LGBTQIA+ community. Heroes that you never learned about in school. Long term, we want to see them everywhere. If you have a smartphone, you should have access to these stories. Right now, we're developing culturally responsive pedagogy and merging them with our augmented reality monuments to place them into schools. Our target market is 10 million Title I middle school students nationwide. Students can use our app to select an underrepresented icon. From there, they can click on them, they can read about them, and they can do different activities, like make a speech, write a story, make a presentation. And then from there, students can take selfies with the app and record their own videos. They can download their videos with their monuments and share them with each other. Our app will be available both for at-home learning, remote settings, as well as in the classroom. Our user testing so far show us that students like what they see because our content resonates with what they're seeing on Snapchat or on TikTok rather than just a plain textbook. We've received generous support from these organizations. And our team has a world-class VR artist, an ex-Googler, and a former TED resident. And today we're raising $300K so we can launch our app by Black History Month of 2021. We are at the dawn of a new civil rights movement. If we get this right, we can live in a world that prioritizes justice over oppression, equity over extraction. Our statues, our curricula, and our institutions should reflect these values. But it all starts with educating the next generation. Thank you. And so now we're going to bring Kevin and Shannon right back onto the stage. Thank you, everyone.
Glenn, that was fantastic. And to all of our presenters, you were just amazing. We could not be more proud of you.
That was a really awesome job, everyone. Our goal today is to launch these teams. To do that, we are looking for all of you to participate. Please visit the Demo Day guide at ffw.org/Demo Day to support the entrepreneurs you just met. Complete the form, and we'll disperse the funds to your favorites. And remember, Google.org is matching all donations. We want you to invest boldly in these world-changing ideas. The world needs them, and these teams need you. Together, we can do more than we ever imagined possible.
And speaking of doing more together, none of this would have been possible without our incredible team. So a big shout out to Nicole, Hillary, Summer, Maddie, and Eli for your tireless efforts in turning this virtual reality into a magical summer. You all are fantastic. So now it's time to go meet the entrepreneurs. You can go to the Demo Day guide and get into their personal rooms. The address is right here on the screen. Click Meet the Entrepreneurs and you'll be ported into their personal Zoom rooms. We hope after you meet them, you can't help but give to them boldly. Because you've heard their audacious goals, you know we need their solutions. Now we want you to join us in helping these founders build a better future. Thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to see you in person sometime soon. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.